Boom, 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 boom. What up? Are you gonna get a focus for me, camera? All right. What's going on, guys? Sorry about that delay between the jackhammer and my computer just randomly crashing. I'm back. So, man, was that annoying. So, we're here to talk about Sharp Objects, Episode 8, Milk, the series finale. This will be the last review of Sharp Objects on PanNerdia, but not the last discussion, hopefully. Great stuff here. It ended... I mean, you thought it ended, and it still didn't end, right? Crazy twists, and I did my live reaction last night on Twitch, and I even missed some things then. So, in preparation for this review today, I definitely was reminded and saw some things I didn't catch last night that are totally game-changing. So, let's get into it, shall we? Episode 8 of the HBO miniseries Sharp Objects, entitled Milk. The episode starts off with Camille approaching the Krellin residence, the estate of her mother, in fear that Emma is already in trouble or danger of Mama's poisonous ways, thinking that she is the one who killed the two girls, as well as her sister Marion. As she is walking up, she does reminisce on some things, just like she has earlier in this show. It tends to be kind of a narrative decision when it comes to Camille's character to go back and reflect on her past and how it connects not only good and bad to where she is now. And I'm sure in the book, I'm pretty positive that the chapters are broken up to where a chapter will be somewhere in the past and another chapter will be somewhere in the present. So they don't really do chapter dives into the past with Camille's thinking. But she approaches the house, reminiscing, and reaches indoor. And Adora and Alan invite her to dinner with Emma, and everybody's there. Emma's already pretty effed up here, and Camille doesn't even really, want to join, right? She's already very weary. She sees how effed up Emma is, and she's like, well, I don't think John Keene's the one who did it. And they're like, of course you didn't. And then once she sits down and starts eating with them, there was this eerie scene where Emma says that, asks Camille, do you know what Greek goddess I am? She's like, I'm Persephone, the queen of the underworld. And you're like, oh my God, that's creepy. Like, is Adora telling her to say this? And while we're sitting here and all this is going on too, and they're trying to have dinner, Camille keeps giving Adora these like super mean mugs, man. I mean, granted, Camille's pretty fucked up at this point too, but she's totally mean mugging Adora. And Adora kind of is going back to her like, oh, you know something, don't you? So it gets pretty intense right off the bat while they're at dinner here. And meanwhile, Emma's like tripping out and calling herself the queen of the underworld. So as Camille kind of approaches more and more kind of soft points with Adora and the poisoning of her sister and sister who passed, Adora looks at Emma and insists that she needs some more medicine, that she's looking pale, and Emma is not really knowing what's going on, doesn't really want to go, and Camille notices this, and as they're going upstairs away from dinner, Camille gets up and fakes her own sickness so her mom will come to her rescue and take care of her. And why is she doing this? Well, I'm pretty sure not only to divert her away from Emma, but to also ingest some of this poison so she can be as evidence of her mom, having her, I forget the name of that disease she has, something asphyxiation, where she essentially harms her offspring on purpose so they feel like they need mother to to go on. So, and that jackhammer's back, so we're just gonna ignore it anyway. So they go upstairs, and surprisingly Adora wants Camille to lay in her bed. So in Adora's bed. So Adora invites her into the ivory floor. Keep the ivory floor in mind here. And she goes in. She tells her to get dressed into this nightgown and get in bed so she can take care of her, saying it's long overdue. So it's already getting freaking weird. But guess what? Camille finally takes that blue bottled elixir, Mama's potion, right? Or poison, that is. And takes a couple spoonfuls and is waiting. And is ready to go to La La Land like Emma over here, the Persephone over here. So then we flash over to the interrogation, which is not that intense. I thought it would be more intense. That's where like this could have been a series, and they could have stretched this out a little more and made it at least maybe 2 seasons or something. We could have gotten more like interesting like things like this. Could have been a lot more interesting. You know what I'm saying? It was interesting. It just didn't pan out all that well, right? This is the last scene with John Keane pretty much right here. So they're interrogating him. Chief Bill Vickery, I guess there was some kind of power outage, so he got to the interrogation late. But they get there and they start asking John questions, and of course, and he just straight up says, "I didn't do it." And the acting from this actor is amazing right here. I mean, even for like say if it was in real life and he was being completely honest that he didn't kill, there's no way these detectives and the chief would in their own minds think that, okay, he didn't do it. I mean, that, or like he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like they would totally be like, okay, he's being honest right here. That emotion's too raw. I mean, that's how good that acting was. It was great. So they go through that whole dance and shows the scene. And as they leave, Detective Willis and Chief Bill Vickery have a little chat. And Chief's like, yeah, a little bit more and he'll break. And he goes, yeah, push anyone enough and they'll break, even if they're innocent. So already, I don't think Richard Willis is really satisfied with them catching John Keane. Despite what happened and what he saw with Camille, I don't think he's really satisfied. And I think there's still that other half of the mystery, and that involves Marion and Dora, and as well as Emma. So the chief, he's out, outside after he gets in, meeting with Detective Willis and whatnot. And he kind of looks back down the alley where Natalie Keane was found. Here's the other girls who rollerblade, Emma's friends rollerblading around, and he kind of starts making some connections in his head too. All right. He then goes to get his face shaved at the local barber because the news team is coming in town, and he's got to get ready to be on camera. And, he walks in but Alan to get his face shaved. But, since the chief's there, Alan's like, I'm going to go ahead and leave. Probably already like, fuck, I don't want to talk to the chief. I don't like him. But also because he's probably covering up some shit. And so then the chief actually asks about Emma, how she's doing, if she's sick, saying he saw her friends skating around. And she said, she's been sick for a while. I'm wondering what's that about, because I'm pretty sure he knows about the whole Marion thing too. So once he hears one of Adora's daughters are sick, he probably gets a little weary. And like I said, the chief kind of ruffles his feathers by asking him that question there. But once Alan gets back, he notices Adora's already making more of her tonic, her blue jarred potion. And Alan's in there like, can you just let him rest? The human body's natural. So Alan's on the fence whether or not he can be creepy to the point where he seems like he's totally under a door spell. There's times when he's just like, fuck, like, it's like, I'm letting you do this because you're just my wife and I probably want to get laid, but can you just calm down and not give him so much? She's like, and then she reveals that Camille's already drank an entire bottle of the shit. So she's got to be fucked up, especially when you find out what's in all of her poisons later on in the episode. So we get a scene as Adora's downstairs of Camille waking up and trying to get up out of bed and barely walking, and Emma coming in saying, oh, do you drink it? Try not to walk, it's better to crawl. And Camille can barely talk, but it's like, you need to leave. You need to get out of here. You need to go find Detective Willis. You need to let him know what's going on, and that Adora's taking care of her of her daughter Camille. You know, so she tries to get him to know, and she's like, just get out of here, go. And Emma is a little hesitant, but leaves and goes to this kind of, you know, almost like Black Ops stuff where she's trying to escape and dodge Mom. And granted, Adora's upstairs at this point, but she runs to Camille's side because Camille's crawling to the bed, right? But, like, again, she tells Emma the piece. Emma almost leaves, gets caught by Alan, which not really caught, but he just catches her and is like, hey, you want some cake finally? And I'll go make some. You go upstairs. And she looks outside. The door's right there. And the scene cuts, right? Well, then we go upstairs to, put it this way. I'll just, in case I don't have a picture and I don't remember, she doesn't leave. She ends up going upstairs eating her cake. So we show Adora still taking care of Camille in the bathtub. And this is a very interesting scene because this is where a lot more is revealed and we get a little more close to even Adora revealing it herself. As she's there and she's throwing up and in and out of consciousness, she straight up says to Adora, you killed her, right? And she kind of dodges the question. She's like, why'd you kill Marion? And aren't you going to tell me why you did it? And her mom keeps dodging questions, and then eventually starts telling a story of how she, you know, some of her past with her mother, and how, you know, out of her 3 daughters, Camille's the closest to her, which can go several ways. But she then says, you know, we all had bad lives, and she even pulls Camille's hair back, like, aggressively, and is like, here, you need more medicine. She goes to get some. She's like, I don't want any more. I don't want any more. And she throws up more. She gives her more medicine and kind of sits her back. And Camille kind of sits back and does her own underwater thing. And does that pretty significantly to where she's thinking about past stuff while basically tripping. And it almost is about to drown, right? Hold up here. She's almost about to drown when, ding dong, she hears a doorbell. Because at this point, Detective Willis is at the door. Now, how did he just show up there? Well, once he told the chief that there's another half to this story, he went to the bar and just noticed some things around the bar and kind of really looked and noticed that, you know what, a lot of things in this town revolve around the Krellins. You know, Adora and Alan, they have the money. All these events, they kind of control this town. As I'm pretty sure this is where he was going, right? And so as he's thinking about this, he's looking around and he sees a Calhoun Day poster, and he kind of like, okay, I need to go kind of get more to the bottom of this. I need to go talk to the Krellins, particularly Camille, if she's still here, regardless of what happened, right? So he shows up at the house and knocks on the door. The music's very loud. Alan answers. Camille hears it, and I think hears Detective Willis's voice and is already crawling out of the tub. I mean, she's naked at this point, crawling out of the tub, trying to yell help and can't. She then goes over and gets a bathrobe and tries to stand up, but before she knows it, he's out. He's left because Alan diverts him, saying Camille's off with one of her old friends. She's not here. Have a good night, detective. And he's like, all right. And he notices it's very weird there. He leaves and then continues to call Camille. Now, when Adora put Camille to bed earlier, she took her phone. So Adora knows the detective's calling Camille over and over again, right? And Camille finally gets out and crawls all the way around and notices that Emma didn't leave yet either, and then starts crawling towards her mom's room again and ends up collapsing on the floor. That's Detective Willis there getting denied by Alan. There's Camille walking towards her mom's bedroom. Artfully done, man, this whole episode. And she collapses on the floor and starts kind of convulsing, right? And while she's doing that, she's having past memories of her sister again, she's kind of noticing some things. It's kind of like deja vu, you know. She's been there before. The way the ceiling fan or the duck fan in mama's room, the green one that they look at, the way the shadow is on the ground and the light that's reflected on the ground. She's noticing that, like she's been here before. She starts remembering that, like I said, she's been there. And then when she's just about to go out, she notices blue and red lights flashing. And at the same time, Adora notices Camille, and right when the lights start flashing, and she's like, "Oh, I'm busted," but she goes, "Alan," like almost like, "Oh, I found Camille on the floor, really hurt." As she's remembering those lights, she remembers back when she was in fact young and she did take Mama's medicine, because she always denied it, right? But there must have been one time when she did take Mama's medicine as a young kid, and she was extremely out of it. And it's so sad to see this. Like, made me tear up. And even this was a time when Marion was still alive, and Marion wasn't even sick at this point. She wasn't taking medicine, but she got next to Camille, and she was completely sober while Camille was going through this, like convulsing. And Marion's down there looking at her like, "I'm here with you, sis." And that's where I think like the ghost connection really comes in, you know? Camille has all these memories of her sister, and yes, her sister did in fact, in that one scene, she's like, "What if when you die, a piece of you stays here just to kind of make sure things are going all right?" So that kind of reflects back to the ghost thing, but I think it is all in Camille's head, and this scene in particular kind of sets that. As she's sitting there convulsing, she looks over and remembers that she was there when she was younger under her mama's potion, and saw her sister there staring like, "I understand what you're going through. We need to get out." It all kind of cycled back through, and that's why, despite the fact that she never really had super closure with her sister, I think that brought the ghost in her own mind. She was haunted by them, her own thoughts. This pretty much settled in stone. And man, it was a really touching scene. And before you know it, Frank Curry and Detective Willis bust in and save the day. Well, how did Detective Willis find out and just get the rights to bust in? Well, remember last episode when Camille was calling Frank and crying that her mom must have did it? We assumed that, well, let me get some coffee here. We assumed that Frank came to the rescue, or like rushed down to Wind Gap from St. Louis to save Camille, or see what's going on at least. And I believe he went straight to the police station to get Chief Bill Vickery, let him know what was going on. Detective Willis was already heading back, or got a radio call. They all met there and rushed in, found Camille like half out of it, almost probably about to die from Mama's poison, and they come and save the day. And this is when Detective Willis notices Camille's scars, and is a little taken back, but everything I think hits him all in a rush too. Like, wow, she's been through a lot, man. Really touching, man. Really touching. I almost wish they had 2 more episodes just to pad this show out just a little bit more, right? So we also get to see the scene with Frank kind of embracing her, which I think really kind of sets in that Camille is allowing herself and is having a chance to be coddled and taken care of by somebody who truly does love her and care about her, and it's the Curry family, her editor and his wife. I think those are the true friends that she has, and the ones that are more parent type to her. The 2 people who have truly treated her like a parent her entire life, besides Jackie O'Neal, I think try to a degree too. But these, I think, Frank Curry and his wife are more so than her. We then get a shot of Detective Willis heading downstairs, kind of seeing what's going on, noticing that Adora is getting interrogated by the chief, and hears that one of the guys found something in the kitchen. There's Chief Bill Vickery kind of been like, "Adora, you fucked up. he's like, and I don't think he can believe it either. He's like dumbstruck, right? But as Detective Richard Willis runs in, and they have a pair of pliers that they found, needle nose pliers covered in blood. Turns out they matched the marks on the gums where the teeth were pulled out of the little girls. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So at this point, it's like, it's it. Adora is the killer. All right. She most definitely killed Marion with those poisons. At least that's what we think. And there's the pliers right there. So boom, right? So Detective Willis walks in, says, "You're under arrest," handcuffs her. Alan even freaks out a little bit, but she gets taken out. The paramedics go up and check Camille and Emma. And as Adora's getting drug out, Emma even yells for her mama, and it then subsides to when Camille is waking up in the hospital, getting some blood drawn, which she kind of almost like smiles slightly. I felt like I saw it out of the crook of her mouth, like, oh yeah, somebody poked me, I'm bleeding, that's nice. Like, she likes that feeling, right? It's kind of like a sense of relief, like she went through a lot and she's having that done. It probably does like settle the nerves for her, really. She wakes up, Detective Willis is there, and he's there to collect samples on their blood, because he's got to double check to make sure that the poison in fact did happen, the poisoning. So Detective Willis sits there and says, yes, in fact, the pliers do match the gum marks. Also, we found a number of poisons. Oh yeah, Emma's there as well. We found a number of poisons in your mother's possession, from everywhere from what did I say, antifreeze, like what the fuck, to tons of different prescriptions, to even rat poison. Like, what the fuck? That's some witch shit, right? He's like, Emma built up a tolerance for it over the years, but you didn't, Camille, obviously. And he's like, she's like, but how did she pull the teeth out? And she's like, probably had an accomplice, probably Alan, but we got to check it. And then he's about to leave, and he's like, I'm sorry, Camille. And he's like, I'm sorry for everything. I'm really sorry. And she's like, I'm sorry too. And she leaves, and Emma's, of course, is like, that's the last we see of Willis too. So hats off to you, Chris Messina. After he leaves, though, Emma's like, what a dick, and they laugh and giggle, and then it goes to a montage of now Camille has Emma in custody, and she's living with her in St. Louis, and they're living with each other. They you know, she's got a room down there at Camille's house. Actually, Camille gave her own room, and Camille just sleeps out in the living room. But this is a shot. You can kind of see it there. It's right somewhere up there. The arch. They do a shot with them driving through St. Louis. But they're actually driving out of St. Louis. There's the shot of their bedroom. But they're driving out of St. Louis to go to Wind Gap for her mom's trial, right? But the montage kind of goes back and forth. I actually kind of got these pictures out of order here. But, so the montage is also showing Emma meeting a new friend in St. Louis, a new girlfriend, and they're having a lot of fun. They're playing, and it's shown in the montage that they're, you know, she's even helping her make stuff in the dollhouse. And then it shows them playing around, and there's this weird scene. Now, keep this in mind. It shows Emma, them skating in the back, and she goes up to this cord and acts like, I'm getting choked to death. And you're like, first when you see her, like, wait, what? And it keeps kind of going, right? So remember that part. Shows those girls making stuff for the dollhouse, like I mentioned. Then it shows them going back to Wind Gap and going to her mother's trial, where her mother pleads not guilty, right? They don't really get too much into that, because after that, they're going to visit her mother in prison. So whether the trial's ongoing or not, there is Adora in the orange jumpsuit. Oh dang, black is the new orange, orange is the new black, whatever. And the only person going to see her, though, is Emma, right? At least at this moment. And they have a touching scene where they actually put their hands against the glass. They cry. They're on the phones. And shows them leaving. And Jackie's showing up to go visit her mom, saying that she'll come visit St. Louis. And so we get to see her again. She seems happy. Probably since Adora's trapped. But then we get a nice scene where it kind of slows down with the montages for a minute. And we get a scene of them all at the Curry's house for dinner. This includes Emma and her friend. So they're outside with Frank's wife, and Frank and Camille are inside while Frank reads Camille's last article involving this story. And it's super touching. The writing is impeccable. It must be straight out of the book. So Gillian Flynn, I mean, wow. It was beautiful, just like Frank Curry said. This is what Camille wrote, and she really spills her guts on the notebook, so to speak, with this, and it's beautiful. It really is. It's magnificent, and they end up getting up and having some dinner together, all of them. That's when he's like, "It's beautiful, Cubby." The acting too, man. Oof. So they have dinner, and this is where another kind of scene kind of pops up. We start seeing the jealousy of Emma again, right? It's popped up a few times in the series, but particularly they're eating dinner, and her friend insists that she loves the editorials in the St. Louis Chronicle, and that she wants to be a journalist too. And then Emma calls her out and being like, "Oh, you're just doing that to impress my sister," suck ass, kind of like says it under her breath, and everybody's kind of like, "Okay, well," and they keep going. And then Camille even notices that Emma's friend even has some writing on her wrist, like she's like writing words on her instead of like cutting. So Emma's must have been telling her some stuff, and then her friend's trying to like get her attention. And I don't think Emma likes when somebody tries to get the attention of somebody she likes. Right? Keep that in mind too. Remember, Adora's the killer. So Camille, they have a scene where she's in a room with Camille, and she's kind of like, "Is everything okay?" And even right then, Emma's acting a little weird, like a little fucked up. I mean, yeah, she's had a fucked up life. She comes from fucked up parents. She has been poisoned most of her life, so something's got to be loose inside Emma, right? Well, we get a scene where Camille's kind of just chilling at home. The door knocks, and it's the mother of Emma's new friend, asking, "Have you seen, her blah, blah, blah?" And she's like, "No, I think she's out with Emma. Last time I saw them. I'll let them know when they get back." She's like, "Okay." And she even has a scene where it's like, has Emma told you about anything? Like, I'm certain Camille was thinking, "Oh, great. Now Emma's told her new friend's mother about me and our mom and all this." And she's like, and she diverts it to like, "Oh, something about boys, blah, blah, blah." She's like, "Okay, phew." And then she's like, Camille's like, "Well, I'll let you know when they come, and I'll send her home, okay?" "All right, thank you." And she leaves, and Camille then is like, kind of just goes back to chilling and gets something to drink and gets ready to throw the bottle in the trash when she notices a little quilt in the trash from the dollhouse. Well, it was a quilt that Emma's friend made that Camille seemed to be pretty impressed at through that montage. So I'm guessing Emma threw it away out of jealousy. So Camille takes it and goes back into Emma's room, takes the roof off the dollhouse, and oh wow, it's like her first time getting to play with it. Gets the bed out, puts the quilt on, and just kind of chilling and getting ready to put the bed back into the dollhouse when she notices one of the little figure's legs hanging out of the window. All right. And she looks closer and closer. Well, let's think about it. We're at in the story was somebody else sitting in the window with their legs hanging out. Almost put out on display, propped up like a little doll. Huh? Dollhouse? Well, Camille looks even further into the dollhouse, and this is in Mama's room, Mama's little miniature room in the dollhouse, and she's looking in and notices something under the bed. Under the bed that is on the ivory floor, right? And she reaches in, And what does she find on the ivory floor? A tooth, a human tooth, pulled out, roots and all. They get a good shot of the ivory floor. It's made of human teeth. The teeth of the girls who were killed and went missing. But why does Emma have the teeth in her house? Was her mom using Emma to cover it up? That was my initial thought. Was Emma just hiding? Is that why she brought the dollhouse with her? Because it's evidence, and she brought it to the house. That's why maybe her mom's still on trial. They don't have all the evidence yet. And Emma walks in, notices Camille. Camille looks at her like, there's already a Led Zeppelin song playing. She looks over like, what the hell? And Emma's like, don't tell mama. Boom, and it ends. You're like, what the hell? What the hell? Is Adora still the killer? Did Emma kill? Did Emma just help? Is Emma just hiding the last bit of evidence? Like, there was so much going through my head, I turned it off. I went on to my live reaction, and I just blew up. And then I went back to watch some more and realized there was scenes in the credits that I missed. This was beyond a Dateline special about slowly poisoning his spouse's life insurance. Emma was always creepy about her friendship in Wind Gap, and her sarcasm was actually all truth. It was just crazy, man, and the dollhouse was all truth. But they ended up showing these scenes during the credits that solidify what really happened. It shows Emma and her friends strangling Ann Nash and killing Natalie Keene. Ann Nash in the pond out in the woods where they found her strangled. And Natalie Keene, it shows her falling down dead, getting strangled from like a view underneath of John's bed, hence why her blood's there. Because they found that blood, remember? And so I guess Emma's got her friends to help him hold the girls down while she choked them out with a wire. Remember that scene I just showed you earlier? And it showed Emma skating with her new friend and act like she was like getting hung. Well, it also is flashing this chick shaking a fence gate really hard while she's getting choked out. Who is it? Her new friend. Emma's choking out her new friend because she's jealous. There's Emma getting really crazy and choking out Ann Nash. And there's her, the last scene of the show. Brilliant acting by the young actress who plays Emma, Eliza Scanlon. And last scene of her choking her new friend out. And just vicious, man. And that's where the last scene, you're like, oh my god. Oh my god. Holy shit. Watch JoJo. And it's crazy. It is so crazy, man. Yeah, it did have a bloody wire, right? Bloody wire used to choke and kill these little girls. And Emma did it. Emma did the choking. Now, did she have help pulling the teeth out? Who knows? But why was the pliers found? Why were the pliers found in Mama's kitchen? So did Mama know and she was covering up for Emma? So I do think, because Mama and Emma are so close, they both knew each other's travesties. I think Mama so much more where she was protecting Emma from getting arrested. I think she knew Emma did that. I'm guessing. But the reason Emma did it was because she was jealous. Mama was trying to get so close to Anne and Natalie. Because Mama had a weird thing where she wanted to feel like she was needed. So she helped these distraught girls. Just like she tried to help Camille. She got the satisfaction of fixing these broken girls. And she never truly got to fix broken Camille. So I think Emma got jealous of that and killed those girls. And that's why she did it. And apparently the way the book goes, I guess either Emma, I'm paraphrasing here and I'm probably getting it wrong. I think Emma kills her new friend, Camille realizes all this, sends her away to a school in Chicago or something. There's a story of another girl went missing and she got found with some teeth missing, right? So, and Camille hears about this and ends up cutting herself again, and the Currys take her in even more so as their daughter to try to help her. So it's just super crazy, super wild ending. Just when you thought it was all over, I mean, you got the twist that Adora was the killer, but then you get the major, major double twist of Emma being the murderer right at the last second of the show. And, well, in fact, Adora did kill Marion. Okay, let's put that out there. She totally killed Marion, and she probably totally would have killed Emma and Camille at some point, whether it be by accident or on purpose. But as far as the two little girls that went missing and died, it was totally Emma. And it's totally effed up. So, all in all, I'm going to give that episode a 10 out of 10. It was amazing. I'm going to give this series, let's say, a 9.8 out of 10. There's a few things that, you know, bugged me here and there, but very minor, petty things. All in all, this was an amazing series. Hats off to HBO. Hats off to the directors, John Mark Vallée. Hands off to the lady who wrote the novel in the first place, Gillian Flynn. Hats off to all the amazing actors and actresses. Camille Preaker, played by Amy Adams, and the younger version, Sophia Lillis. Patricia Clarkson playing Adora Krillin. Chris Messina playing Richard Willis. Again, you have Eliza Scanlon playing Emma Krillin. She's going places, man. I mean, the range that she put out forth as well. Everybody from the guy who played the Chief to Frank Curry to everybody else, man. It was amazing. It was an amazing show. The acting was superb. The artful direction was amazing. The way that use of light, how it shined through, and they had to block the light out of I mean, everything was just amazing, man. It was top-notch television. They really put it all into this 8-episode miniseries, and I would have loved if they just would have ended it with Emma saying that, and you never really getting the satisfaction of how it ends. But seeing that Emma is the one who killed him, it really does sets it in stone, and you're just like, and then you start thinking about all the last episodes, and it makes you think, it almost makes you want to rewatch it all, which is like perfect for a show like that. So you get the most people to watch the show, even if it means getting somebody to watch it twice. So amazing stuff. Mwah, beautiful, beautiful show. Again, Amy Adams, you were amazing. You really had my heartstrings tugged on here and there. And like I said, just amazing all around. I highly recommend this show. If you don't have HBO or HBO Go, go get HBO now. It's like the Netflix of HBO. You can watch all the series and stream it from anywhere. You don't even have to have a subscription, be a cable service. Or if you don't, get a friend who has it and ask them to borrow it so you can watch this awesome show. Try to get them on it. Dance Off with Amy when one of these ladies win an Emmy or something. I think so. I think Amy, I think all of them will be up for an Emmy, to be honest. I really do. Whether it's this year or not, this show's definitely going to be up for some awards, hands down. It was too good to pass up, man. It's brilliant. Brilliant stuff, and I love it. There were some things that were left unanswered. You know, Alan, what's going on with him, as well as, you know, like John Keane and, you know, other people like that. And even just in general, like what's going on now since Camille just found out that her sister's the killer. This is where a sequel would be great. I don't think there's any talk for a sequel of the book or this series at all, so we might not ever get it. And it might just be what it is. But hopefully we get a little more closure, at least on terms of Emma later. I feel like there could be a sequel to the series. Instead of having another season, just make a new series, and then, like, you know, 4 years from now, have the series on HBO or something. But, yeah, all in all, I loved it. Really great stuff, and gonna, you know, leave a lot of discussion in terms of murder mystery for a while to come now. So, again, Well done, HBO. I loved it. I hope you guys did too. And thanks for joining me on this journey of reviewing sharp objects here on PanNerdia. Had a great time. So, as far as these reviews / discussions go, I will be back next Sunday with something. I'm not sure yet whether it's a kind of catch up and discussion / podcast style of Better Call Saul season 4. I would like to discuss that. Not necessarily have a full review show, but definitely discuss it. Maybe Pete can join me. Before you know it, we'll be back with the Walker Talkers. I'm sure we'll have another kind of pre-recorded podcast style of what's going on with Fear before the season 9 of the OG Walking Dead starts. But we'll be back with that soon as well. As far as the rest of this week's go with the art and everything else with PanNerdia, I will be on here later, not on here, on Twitch later tonight with my new painting. It's twitch.tv/PanNerdia. And starting something a little different tonight. Still doing Dragon Ball, but a little different than what I had planned. So I'll let you guys in on that once I go live tonight. Otherwise, I will be on and off all week because I'm off work. So I'll see you guys around then. And hopefully preparing a lot of content over this 10 days off I have. So I can bring more content to come. So thanks again for joining me for the review of Milk, the series finale of Sharp Objects. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you soon. Again, if you want to catch me painting later, it's twitch.tv/PanNerdia. Also, my heart goes out to everybody involved in the tragedy yesterday in Jacksonville, Florida, involving the shooting at a Madden championship. So my heart goes out to everybody there. You guys stay safe. Love y'all. Peace.